So we are today at the Temple of Karnak. It's a place that I've wanted to visit since I was a child, so it's really cool to be here, and you'll see us soon walking through the columns, seeing all of the smaller temples that's part of this complex. It's amazing.
It really is. This is 1500 BC, so 1500 before Christ, and this place is a massive. There's intricate carvings and hieroglyphics everywhere, but it's really impressive at the size and scale of what they were able to do.
We are bringing you both a real and an interactive virtual tour of Egypt. We're going to show you how to use Google Earth to plan your visit to Karnak and Luxor Temples, or just use the tools to see them from the comfort of your own home. After the video, go to the video description and click on the Google Earth project link, which auto-navigates you through the corridors and courtyards of Karnak and Luxor. We will mirror the journey in the video as we took it when we were there, and along the way, we will also tell you about the magic of these places and the rituals that took place within these walls. In addition, we point you to the Digital Karnak project, which uses 3D digital renderings to reproduce what Karnak looked like long ago before it fell into ruins. Here we see how Karnak progressively developed over 2,000 years. Go to their website to download these images for your classroom or just for your own personal enjoyment. The Karnak Temple is located in Luxor, Egypt, and is considered one of the largest religious complexes in the world. As we approach the temple along the Avenue of Sphinxes, we notice the impressive size and grandeur of the complex. The temple is made up of a series of temples, chapels, and gateways, otherwise known as pylons, that were built by various pharaohs throughout history. The temple complex is dedicated to the god Amun, the patron god of the city, as well as his wife Mut and their son Khonshu. Next, we visited the Hypostyle Hall, which is known for its impressive columns. The hall is filled with 134 columns, each over 70 feet tall and adorned with intricate carvings and hieroglyphics.
Okay, so one of the things I was most looking forward to in Karnak Temple was walking through these massive columns. When I was about 10 years old or so, there was a television show called Battlestar Galactica. I'm sure many of you know it. And in the opening credits, the stars of the show would walk through these columns, and it just fascinated me. It made me so excited to learn about this place and what it's like. And now, today, I get to walk through these columns, so it's really exciting.
The columns are arranged in rows and represent the plants and trees of the Nile Valley, symbolizing the abundance and fertility of the land. As we continued our tour, we visited the obelisk of Pharaoh Thutmose I, as well as the obelisk of the queen who became king, named Hatshepsut, each adorned with inscriptions detailing the pharaoh's victories and conquests. One of the highlights of our visit was seeing the Scarab Statue, which represents the ancient Egyptian god Khepri. The scarab was seen as a symbol of rebirth and renewal, and this particular scarab statue was the focus of an interesting magical ritual.
This is the scarab beetle, which the Egyptians associated with the sun. And there is a superstition that says if you make a wish and that you circle around this scarab beetle 3 times and then touch it, your wish will come true. So our director actually told us we may have to do it 7 times, but I think we're going to stick with 3, and we're going to touch. And I'm not going to tell you what he told us to wish for because it involves not getting sick on the ship. So I'm going to wish for peace and happiness for the world, and an amazing opportunity for everybody to come have this experience that we've had in Egypt. And I think I'm coming around to number 3 now, so I'm going to touch it and roll.
Next, we saw the sacred lake. This was so fascinating. The sacred lake is huge and is lined with stone and has stairways descending into the water. The lake was home to the sacred geese of Amun and was a symbol of the primeval waters from which all life arose in the ancient Egyptians' idea of creation. After exploring the main temple, we made our way to the smaller but no less impressive Khonshu Temple. This temple was dedicated to the god Khonshu, who is the god of the moon, time, and fertility. You may remember Khonshu from the Disney Plus Marvel television show called Moon Knight. They adapted the superhero from this actual Egyptian god.
All right, so this was a very cool experience. So we're at the Karnak Temple, of course, and I was asking about the Temple of Khonshu because I really wanted to see that. And we were talking to some guards, and they were like, I don't know what this means, but they put their hands over their mouths, and they're like, follow us. And so they took us around to the work area, because right now they're doing restoration on the
So
Temple
this is
of
a
Khonshu.
closed area.
So yes, closed area. You're not supposed to be here, but they're letting a few people in, and they took us through, and it was worth it. So you'll see the video. The temple
really
is
amazing.
Gorgeous. Like, it needs to be open right now. And they even took us into the special room where it had some hieroglyphics on the walls, but they were so perfect. They were so colorful.
Perfect, colorful, and huge.
Yeah.
And they were in amazing condition. Yeah.
And now he had to lead us like way back into locked areas.
It was a little scary.
It was a little sketchy. It was a little sketchy, but this is a once in a lifetime experience and so worth it. And of course they're asking, take care of the family. So we had to give them tips. They weren't happy with...
It's never enough.
It's never enough. So know that when you come to visit.
Yeah, always give them about half of what you are going to intend to give them, and then give them a little more, and then say no more.
And
Because
that's
no matter
it.
what you give them, they'll always want more.
Yeah. Key tip when coming to Egypt, you have to bring a lot of American single dollar
bills.
You give $1, that's usually pretty good. Just bring a whole stack of them. It'll go a long way for you.
Our tour guide was exchanging $50, $100 per couple in $1 bills. So it's literally you were tipping all day long, and it goes a long way. And it's of course custom, and it goes to people that need it. So definitely good advice.
Yeah. So come to Egypt, come to the Karnak Temple, and see if you can get into the Khonshu Temple.
Yes, and bring dollars.
And bring dollar bills.
In his temple, it was fascinating to see the intricate carvings and paintings depicting the various stories and myths surrounding this deity. The magical rituals performed at Karnak Temple were an important part of the ancient Egyptian religion and culture. They allowed the people to connect with the gods and seek their guidance and protection. For example, we learned about the Opet festival, which was once held at these temples. This ancient festival was a time of great celebration and feasting. As part of the festivities, a grand procession was held between the two great temples of Karnak and Luxor Temple. Why did Amun need to leave his home in Karnak? Simply put, the god was exhausted after a year of managing the cosmos and needed a recharge. This was tied to the flooding of the Nile River that gave life as well, but also needed a recharge in order to bring life anew the following year. As the sun began to set, the people would start to make their way from Karnak to the Temple of Luxor, which was located just a few miles down the road. They would follow the Avenue of Sphinxes. Eventually, the procession reached the Temple of Luxor, where the statues of Amun and Mut were placed on a special altar. Here, the people would continue to offer prayers and offerings to the gods. We visited the Temple of Luxor at night, and it took on a special magical atmosphere.
We're here at Luxor Temple, and what's cool is we're here at night. It's beautiful, and obviously the holy different experience than it would be during the day. So it's all lit up. It's about 6 o'clock in the evening, and we're on a tour, and we're looking forward to seeing what this thing looks like. Of course, this is the big temple here right on the Nile River in Luxor.
We spent time viewing all the wall carvings and learning about the history of the place.
This is a really interesting part of the Luxor Temple. We're actually in a very holy area. This is the holy of holy areas. And we're in the same space, but literally across from each other on this side, you have hieroglyphics from historic Egyptian times, like 1500 BC. And you can see the detail and the stories here. And right across here, you can see some that are hundreds of years later that reflect the story of Alexander the Great. So you can think about how much time that was. Alexander the Great knew that the only way he could control the Egyptians was through religion, and that's what he did. And you can actually see hieroglyphics here that represent Alexander the Great as an Egyptian god. And it's really interesting to see and hear the stories about how he manipulated things, and that wound up on these walls literally 12 feet apart.
The Karnak and Luxor temples are truly breathtaking and awe-inspiring places, and we hope you've enjoyed this tour with us. Watch this video to see what's next on our adventures and check out our customizable merchandise store. See you soon!